Okay, so today we are going to talk about uh, how to create the policies and those stuff, NAT in Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so let's this. So this is my virtual machine. I'm going to log into that. So okay, so before that, what we discussed. So we discussed about there are 7 tabs in Palo Alto firewall: dashboard, ACC, and monitor. So first three tabs, they are totally related to the what is called this one: monitoring, troubleshooting, and reporting purpose. Dashboard, ACC, and monitor. These 3 tabs. Then device tab. In the device tab, you will have support, licenses, software update, then what is called management, configuring the what is called name, operational commands, taking the backup, and rebooting the firewall and those stuffs. Integration with the Active Directory server, certificates, those things will be here. So the dashboard, ACC, ACC tab, and the monitor. So these 3 are totally related to your what is called monitoring purpose. And so there is no configurations here. Dashboard, ACC, monitor. In the device tab, we discuss about in the device tab we have the configuration. So but these configurations are one-time configurations. So let's say support. It will give you what support license you have. Licenses, whatever the licenses you buy with the firewall. Then software upgrades, like which if you want to upgrade the pan OS, you can upgrade from here. Okay. Then server okay, if you come up in the setup, you have the management. Like here you can give your what is called switch name, sorry, Palo Alto firewall name. If you want some authorized like banner accesses restricted, and you can connect the firewall to panorama from here, and your management interface and all those things will be here. Then your operational commander taking backup of the firewall, revert, save, load, reboot firewall, commit, save, search. We already discussed about this service. So this is the place we from here the Palo Alto firewall fetch all the day-to-day licenses, content update, URL update, and all those things will be here. Okay, so okay. So this is about the, the dashboard. Okay, so dashboard, ACC, monitor, and the device. In the device tab, all are one-time configuration. Like if you leave the high availability, this is for the HA. Leave about for now. Administrator, you can create the administrators, right? And if you want some password profile, let's say administrators, you have local administrators, so strictly 30 days, 20 days, so you will get you can create that role. And the roles you can create, let's say network team, security team, monitoring team, so you can create a roles and you can assign that roles to the administrators. So this is again the your management things. Then if you come down, you have a servers. So if you want to integrate if you want to send the logs to the Syslog server, so you just need to mention the Syslog IP address here. So UDP 514, it will forward. If you want to integrate Active Directory, LDAP server with your Palo Alto firewall, so you just need to mention the LDAP server IP address. Okay, LDAP server IP address, and give the 389. The port is like a default one, and this Active Directory. So this base DN, bind DN, and this password, it should be matched with your server. So server team will provide you this information, base DN and bind DN. So this is one. So similarly, if you want to integrate the TechX, the authentication AAA server, then you can go and add here. So whatever the TechX server and the secret password. So this password will be same password will be matched on your TechX server. So this is for the authentication. So if you see here, so these all settings, most of the settings, these are the one-time settings, right? So which day to day you don't configure TechX day to day, you don't integrate your AD day to day. So this is for the integration. Similarly, users. So you can create some local users also. Let's say I'm creating one user. Let's say test Okay, so let's say user one. Okay, I'm giving some password. Let's say user one and some password. Okay, so I created the so this user, it is a local user. Okay, your firewall created this user, so you can clone it. See, I cloned this one. See, now you can just go here and change the name. Okay, user two. Okay, now done. So similarly, you can just copy this and both and clone it. So now the four user came. So you can just go here and change it, make it three, make it third user and the fourth user. Okay. So what is this users? So this is like you can create this user and you can bind it to your VPN as well. So this user access, you can like authentication, like generally for the VPN authentication required, right? So if you have LDAP server or a TechAx AAA server authentication, so your user ID will come here and firewall will send request to the TechAx server for authentication. But when you create the local user database, so this user one, two, three, four, this users configured on the firewall. So firewall will not send it to TechX. So it is a local, but you know the creating local user, it is not a best practice. So it is for some cases, if you need that, you can create that. But the recommended is the LDAP or TechX. You should have that authentication. Okay, because you don't depend on this one. But okay, so now you can create the user group also. Let's say this is my VPN users. Okay, and you can add the users there. What we created: user one, user two, user three, and user four. So you created this group. So this is called a group. So now see, this is the local users and you created the group. So this group you can call into the VPN. Okay, you can say, okay, you can give access to this particular group. So that is possible. So this option is for that. So like this, you have multiple tabs here. We did not talk about high availability. Okay, and config audit, you know that config audit, when you want to compare something, so you just go here and it will tell you what is the running config and what is the candidate configuration. So now see here, I created these users. See, admin, he created these users, user one, user two, user three, and all. So that's why the green mark is here. So it is not yet configured. It is not yet committed. So it is now it is running configuration means a safe configuration. So when you until and unless you commit the firewall, it will be still in the candidate configuration. So when I say commit, okay, when I say commit, so okay, and here you can validate the change, preview the change. But let's say I want to commit, so it will go and commit. So now your candidate configuration will become running configuration now after this commit. Okay, so that's the one. So if you close it, so still your commit will be in process. If you go to the task, so you will show, it will show you how much commit is there. So it is going, it is saying failed. Why? Because I have some VR configure next hop, something is there. So some wrong route I configured yesterday, so that's why it's, so we can go. So it will give the error, so you can go and correct that. So it is saying that what is that error. So if you go to the task, if you go to, so commit is failed, it means your change not yet done. So if you go to the click this tab, so it will tell you, okay, commit status completed, but the result is failed. But why it is failed? Detail, can't find interface VR next hop, this one. So there is some virtual router, like one virtual router we created, next hop, it is not finding there, it is saying. So this is something wrong. So what I can go and correct that. So if I go to the virtual router, yesterday we talked about the virtual router is the routing table. So static route, so it is saying some wrong route is there. So let's say we are this one, I think 70.1. Okay, so I can just delete it because it was just testing purpose. So now say okay, and now commit it. So if see, always you need to make sure the commit should be success. Okay, if it is failed, then you need to fix that, because Paloalto firewall will give you the error why it is failed. So now the commit operation, it is in pending mode, and it is also giving some warning. So that warning is fine. but now this commit is 55%, 70%. You should get a completed, a success result here. Then your commit is perfect. So now 99%, and okay, now configuration commit successfully. So whatever you created, that is got successful. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, now you can close this window. Okay, so if I go back to device and configured it. So and previously I put this one. Now if you say go, so can you see what it is saying? This version is identical. So if you see here, the commit mark is grayed out because I don't have anything to be commit. Everything is committed, and everything is in running configuration. If you do some changes, so it will be in candidate configuration. So you can go and check here what happened here. Okay, what you can review it. So this is about the this one. So let's talk about policies. Okay, let's talk about policies. Okay, so for that, let me, yes, policy is very important. So before that, let me add something here. Let me take what is called paint. So first, we will draw a diagram, and based on diagram, we will configure, because for creating policy, first you need to understand, right, what is the policy and all. So let's say this is our firewall. Okay, this is your firewall, Paloalto firewall. Okay, so and it have on upper side, so upper side, internet router is connected. Okay, internet router is connected here. Then in the lower side, screen not visible. Okay, 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 okay. Fine, fine, fine. Got it. So let me share the screen again. Okay, sorry, here. So this is the firewall, and this is, let's say this is the internet router, and let's say towards the downside there is something. My core switch is connected. Okay, so my core switch is connected here. Okay, and I have one DMZ zone also. I have one DMZ zone. Let's say one thing is connected here. So I have three zones. Okay, so let me tell. Okay, this is your Palo Alto firewall. Okay, Palo Alto firewall, and this is your internet router. Okay, this is your core switch. Okay, and let's say this is your DMZ switch. Okay, so if you remember, if you recall Cisco ASA, so we created the zones. So now we are creating the zones. So zone, let's say this zone between Palo Alto and core switch, this is called our inside zone, right? One inside zone, another is outside zone. Okay, and here this is called our DMZ zone. So in Cisco ASA, we give the security level and all, but here not, you don't require that. So what will happen by default? The intra zone traffic, like outside to DMZ, DMZ to outside, inside to outside, outside to everything will be blocked. Any zone to zone communication is blocked by default in Palo Alto firewall. Remember this point. So you need a policy. If suppose even inside people they want to go to outside, still you required a policy here. Okay, so you need the zone. So now what will happen generally? So this interface, Palo Alto interface, this is the L3 interface, and this core switch interface, this is also L3 interface. So let's say 192.168.10.1, and this will be 10.2. So this will be same subnet, and there they will be having L3 connectivity. If you go and ping, you can ping to each other. Okay. Similarly, this interface and this interface, if you are having a layer 3 deployment, so they should be in the same network. And similarly, this interface and this interface, Paloalto firewall, outside interface, DMZ interface, and inside interface. So you need to configure three interfaces, IP addresses here, and they should be in the same subnet. This is one network, this is one network, this is one network. So when you go and check the routing table, so you will see three networks directly connected. After that, let's say you have a OSPF running between core switch to Paloalto firewall. So your core switch, it is having your LAN, your entire organization routes are here. So what will happen if, when you run OSPF? So all the routes will go to the Paloalto firewall, right? Similarly, for internet and your this one. So here maybe BGP is configured. BGP is running between your internet router and your Paloalto firewall. So BGP neighborship is formed here. So, but you know what? Now this is BGP is configured here and OSPF is configured here. But you know what? From Paloalto to the core switch. So these guys, they want to access the internet, right? So they need to go from here. So from the routing side, what we do, we redistribute the BGP, the default route to the core switch. Okay, and from here, whatever the LAN routes, it will go to the Palo Alto firewall. So Palo Alto firewall will have entire organization routes, whatever the routes you have. Similarly, let's say you have one subnet here and you put a static route here, so you will get that also. So your outside default route, inside LAN and DMZ subnet, everything will be in Palo Alto firewall default route. So now see, we before creating the policy, we need to prepare this diagram and we need to mention that, okay, you need to plan this one. So this is okay. Right now, this is a standalone. If you have redundant, then you need to connect two firewall, two route, two switches, and two things there. But now let's understand the a single firewalls and all. So now you need to plan like this. So you need to design the IP addresses. This what will be this IP address? What will be this IP address? What will be this IP addresses? And you need to, and what will be the your zone name? These are the your zone. Okay. Now after this, once you created and your routing table is done, and your firewall should be reached to the internet. Firewall should reach here. Firewall should reach here. So now the firewall is a intermediator and it block all the traffic for now. Now you need to start creating a policy table that is called a security policy. Okay, security policy. So in the security policy, you need to say, okay, inside, from inside, these guys can access to internet. So the source is inside, destination is outside, and what they want to access, they want to access the port HTTP and HTTPS for internet browsing. Now, from outside to inside, we don't allow anything. Leave it for now. So, but inside to DMZ, the people can access here. Yes. So you need to have another policy inside to DMZ to access DMZ servers. Okay, on port, let's say 8080. So you need to create another policy. Now two policies done. Now DMZ to inside. So here some servers are here, they want to talk to their database. So you need to have open the rule DMZ to inside from that specific source to specific destination on that particular port. So you can allow that, but outside to inside we never allow. So let's say you have some public server here in the DMZ side. So from outside to DMZ, you create one rule and you allow this one, right? Similarly, this firewall does a natting also. You need a NAT rule also. NAT, see, you have a security policy. Parallelly, you need a NAT rule also, network address translation. So NAT, the Palo Alto support two type of NAT. One is a source NAT, one is a destination NAT. Source NAT is the user, they want to access the internet. So you need to use a source NAT. So it means the private IP address you need to convert into the public IP address, right? One is source NAT. What is the destination NAT? Let's say you have one public server, which is in the DMZ zone. You want a people from internet want to access that. So you need to open that, and it will go and it will access that. So again, it will be a destination NAT. So source NAT, destination NAT, and the policy. So see the Palo Alto firewall, it does everything. So first of all, you need to do the basic configuration. You need to deploy interfaces, zones, routing, and everything should be fine. After that, the policy work will come. NAT will work, and on top of that, your profiles will come into picture. What is the profiles? Your antivirus, your spyware, your vulnerability, your wildfire. So these are the top up of the firewall. But you need to have this ready first. Okay, you need to have this ready first. That is the thing required. So now let me show you. Let me move back to the firewall and let's configure zones and let's configure the policies. Okay, based on this diagram. So, but right now, okay, these IP addresses and all you can create. Let's say, okay, let's do one thing. Let me give the IP address here 192.168.10.1. This is my inside IP address, inside zone firewall IP address. Let's say this is 1.1.1.1 outside IP address, and let's say 172.172.16.10.1. This is my DMZ interface. Okay. So what we are going to do? We have a three. We will create a three interface. We will layer three interface. We'll create three zone DMZ outside inside. We'll give these IP addresses. Okay. Then we'll see the routing table. Then based on that, we will create a security policy and we'll create a NAT rules. Okay, NAT rule is required when you want to use the source NAT because these people want to access the internet, right? So we will create that and you will understand very clearly. Let's stick on this particular diagram. So let me share the firewall screen. Where is the firewall? Here's my file. Are you able to see my firewall? Okay, perfect. So let me log into the firewall. So by default, it is the admin credential. So um, okay, one second. So I already opened here. Fine. So able to see my file? No? Okay, perfect. So here we go. So let's do one thing. Let's create the diagram first. So I have interfaces. So yesterday we configured sub interfaces, right? So let's remove that. Okay. No, I think we already have this one. So, but the zones inside, outside DMZ. Wow, we already configured the zones. So the inside, let's compare that inside and zones. Okay, we configured three zones inside, outside DMZ. So let me remove these zones. It is not required for now. It is just to avoid any confusion. So we have three zones inside, outside DMZ. Okay, if you go to the interfaces, so 192.168.10.1. So it is assigned on interface 1. See, inside 192.168.10.1. Then outside 1.1.1 and DMZ 172.16. 172.16.20.1. That's fine. So now I have this one. So I also attach the management profile here. Okay, management profile is ping. So what I want so that I can ping these IP addresses from my network. So currently it is showing down because uh, there is nothing connected there. This is my VM lab. So if you connect the any interface, so it will be green. So this interface nothing is configured here. That's why it is showing amber grayed out. Red means configured but not connected, but green means configured and connected. That's the green light. Okay. So similarly, if you go to the virtual router, okay, virtual router is nothing but the routing table of your firewall. So if you go to the router or virtual router, and if you want to see the routing table of the firewall, so you just go here and go more runtime status. So you will see the routing table. Can you see the routing table here? Okay, so right now only one interface is up. That's how it is showing one interface only. So this is done. So our network is fine. Our connectivity, we configured three zones and we configured three interfaces, and we also have the routing table. Okay, and we also connected a management like interface management profile to ping that IP address. So your network part is done. Now let's move back to the security. Go to the policy. Okay, so policy. So first policy, what I want. Okay, I want. So I'm creating a security. See, here's some tab. Security, NAT, and this many things. Decryption policy, capacity portal, application override, and all. So let's focus on the security right now. So I'm going to create a rule. Okay. So the first rule is I'm just adding. Let's say internet access. Okay, you can put the description user to access internet. Okay, you can use the tags. So there is very good feature in the tag called tag. So you can create, I will show you tag. So source zone, who want to go? The users from inside. Okay, users from inside, they want to go. You can specify the source. Okay, you can create the sources from here. You can create a add address and you can create the sources, but right now let's have any. If you don't specify, then it will be allow any. Okay, so inside anyone, so there is a user called something. So if you have a user id agents, then you can specify the user. So let's leave for now. Destination, uh, inside people want to go to outside, right? Outside, so outside they can go to any. Which application? See, this is the beauty of application. So here I can say, ssl. Ssl is nothing but http. Okay, ssl is nothing but http. And I can, guys, 2 minutes. Okay, so Azam was going on, so we just stopped a few minutes. Okay, so let's not use the application. Let's create a port base. So now, if you go here, service. So services. So which service you want? By default, HTTP and HTTPS. So these are two services we required for the internet access. And action. Action is allowed. So let's have everything, log forwarding and all, everything default. Nothing. Just say okay. So this is your first rule. Okay, but this rule is similar like a Cisco AS rule. Why? Because you use the port. Okay, this is the port based rule. Okay, so you see there is an option here. You can, okay, if you don't want to see this heap profile, so you can just go and cross mark this one. This one you don't want, right? Similarly, if you don't want to see the type, remove it. So your screen will be different. So okay, so the first rule, what is internet access? Inside people to outside, any inside from any to outside any, this one. So this rule is like a port based rule. You use the port here. If you go here and check, this is the port 80. See, 8880. Similarly, HTTPS is nothing but your port 443. Okay, so this one. But you know what, this rule is a port based rule, but if I want to make it as application based rule, so I can just clone it. Okay, so where you want to put, I want to put this rule more on top. Okay, this new rule will be on top. So can you see this? The new rule is cloned here with the new name. So I want to say access, internet access Okay, internet access apps. Okay, so users to same user destination, but this time I will use, instead of port base, I will specify SSL. SSL is nothing but the port 443 SSL, and I will say web browsing. Web browsing is the another application. Web browsing. Web browsing is it is called, it is nothing but the port 80. So because the user want to access the internet, right? Internet either can be port 80 or port 443, and I will remove it, delete, and just say okay. So now see, you have two rules here. So one is a port based rule, one is application based rule. So you know what, when you, this is a more granular control, this is a more secure rule. So port based rule is not not required here, because I will use the application, because my firewall has the visibility. My, this is the next generation firewall which identify the application. Okay, so I don't want this one, so I'm going to delete this rule, because this rule is not required, because I, because if because my firewall identify the applications, right? App id, this is called the app id. We'll talk more on app id. So this is the first rule I created. Now I need to create another rule. Okay, I need to create another rule. Let's say okay, so inside to DMZ. Okay, so our another thing is inside user to connect DMZ servers. Okay, so now source. What is the source this time? Source is the inside. Okay, and we did not specify the source. This one destination. Destination this time destination is DMZ zone. Okay, application. So let's say application is, instead of the port, instead of that Oracle, let's say we have Oracle servers here. So Oracle, if I search with OR, oh, okay, can you see the Oracle application? So this is my application, Oracle. So generally Oracle application, it has some ports. So I will use the application base and default application I'm taking, and action is allowed, and just say okay. So now my another, my the second rule. See, the firewall is work on top to bottom. So it will hit first rule, then second rule, third rule. And can you see these two rules are by default? What is this rule? Like intra zone. Like if inside to inside traffic is allowed, DMZ traffic allow, but it will deny by default zone to zone traffic. So first you have two rules here, inside to outside, inside to DMZ. So except these two rules, every traffic will be denied by this rule. This is the default rule which you have, deny anything, everything, except these two rules. So see, you have an option, you can move this rule. If suppose you want top move top, so see, this rule become top now. If you want to know, like I want this rule to be top, you can move to top, this feature, right? So okay, so like this you can create the this one. So now I'm creating another rule. So what rule I required? So another rule is DMZ to internet. So my DMZ servers, they want to access the internet. Okay, you can put the description DMZ to internet access. Okay, so this time the source is DMZ, because these are the first people, DMZ. Destination, they want to go to internet outside. Okay, and application. Okay, so instead of that, instead of creating, okay, let me create, select again SSL. They want to access the internet, right? So SSL and web browsing. Web browsing. Web hyphen browsing. Okay, two things. Then service is default and allow. By default allow. So now if you see here the third rule, so what the third rule is saying, the DMZ access to the outside, and this one, DMZ to the internet, right? So you created the rules like this. Okay, but there are some enhancement you can do here. You can see the tags. So tag, where is, what is the tag? It is used for the identification. So we can create some tags from here. Go to the object tab. Okay, in the object tab there is something called tag. Okay, in the tag you can create some tag. Let's say internet, or let's say yeah, internet. This is the tag. You can give the color red. Okay, comment. You can give the comment internet access. Okay, so I created one tag. Okay, similarly I can create another tag. Let's say Oracle. So this is again, this is for your identification. So let's say Oracle, I'm giving the grant. So let me say Oracle service tag I have given. Okay, so these tags which I created, I can mount here. I can attach here to the security rules which I created. Can you see here? Internet access applications. What I can do, I can just go to the tag here now. See, when I click here, just select the tag. Okay, internet tag. Just say okay. Done. Can you see? You are seeing the tag here. Similarly, this guy also going to the internet. So just select here the tag. Say okay. Internet. So now these two rules, let's say you have 100 rules. So instead of okay, let's make this guy Oracle tag. You use the tag. So use of tag is very useful in our day-to-day operation, because when you have thousands of rules, hundreds of rules, so that time if you want to search with the tag, just drag and drop here and search. So you will filter with the tag. Can you see? For the internet, you have these two tags. Got it? And if you want to break, just cross mark. So now again your filter is gone. So let's say you want to filter Oracle, just drag and drop and search. Okay, can you see here? Now your Oracle tag is this one. So tag is used for the filtering and for the rule identification. Okay, this is one thing if we understand tag. So now there is in the object, if you go here, so there are something called addresses. Okay, so you can create address group. So address means one single IP address, 1 2 3 4 single IP addresses, and you can make the group like this. Similarly, services, you can create multiple services and you can combine them into the group. Okay, so let's create few object, and this object groups we will use into our policy. If you go here in our policies, we define here. See, right now what we did in the start, we said any interface, any inside destination source, but we can specify. See, by using the flavors, different flavors, we will make our rule very granular, very attractive, and very specific. So now let's go and create some object. So let's say I'm creating a simple object. Go here and let's say h host one. Okay, and give the description if you want. Let's say this is my host machine. Okay, and give the IP address. Let's say 192.168.10.2. Okay, say okay. If you want to use the tag, you can use the tag. Host one, host done. Create another host h. Let's say host 2. Okay, give the IP 192.168.10.3. Another host created, right? So similarly, I can clone it. I can use the clone. See, I can clone it, right? So now I can go and change the IP addresses here. Just go and let's make it 3, and give it name as a 3. Done. Third, and make it 4. So I created 4 hosts. Okay, 4 hosts. So you can just change the IP addresses and this one. So now I created 4 hosts. Okay, so I can create a group here. So I let's say I will say LAN machines. Okay, LAN machines, and I will add my 4 machines here: host 1, host 2, host 3, and host 4. Host 4. Okay, group. Okay, you can give the description of the group. Let's say inside host. Okay, done. Say okay. So now you created a group. Okay, now the LAN home machine. So now if you go to the policy here, okay, the policy, in our first policy, what we define. Okay, now see, in our first policy we said internet access. So internet access from inside any, instead of any, what I can do, I can add that source. So only these 4 guys will go to the internet, not any. So source, if I go to the source, from inside zone, so this group I can use. See, LAN machines. So when I say LAN machines, so this entire group I added here. So see how secure it is. Instead of, if when you say any, so any machine can access. But if you have an object group, so now only this object group members will get an access. Now I make my rule more granular, right? Inside. For outside any, say they want to go to internet access any IP address, so that's fine. DMZ. So we can go and create another group. Okay, let's say you have some DMZ servers. So you can go and click here. DMZ, let's say H DMZ1. Okay, so let's say 172.16.20.2. This is my DMZ server. So if you want, you can add the tag also. See, let's say this is your Oracle related server. So say okay, right? So you can clone it. Clone. Okay, let's say you have a two and you clone it again. So you will have another see, it's how simply I'm making it. So this, let's say this is your DMZ's server 2, and let's say the IP is something 3. Okay, so similarly, let me edit this one also. Let's say this is server 3. Okay, so the 3 object I created. Now create the group of what? Group of DMZ servers. So let me add another create the group. Let's say DMZ servers. So you can view the description: DMZ servers in DMZ zone. So if anyone come and read that, okay, this group is for the destination, so you just add. So you will see all the host here. You can but you need to specify, okay, DMZ1, then DMZ2, and DMZ3. So you created none. So you see, you can add the tag here also, because in real time, like when you go to the work, so you will have thousands of object group. So it is very simple when you use the tag and filter it. So it will be very easy for you. Okay. Now this particular source I can add into the my policy now, right? So I can go here in the DMZ to internet. So instead of any, I will specify here. See, if I go here, you can add from here also. Just click any. So here you can just add and just say DMZ servers. Done. Say okay. So can you see? So this internet from LAN, but these machines can go. If you, there is a small button. If you go here and check, so you will see what are the values here. See, host 1, host 2, host 3, host 4, right? Similarly, if you see here, there is a small arrow here. So just go here. You will see 3 hosts here: DMZ1, DMZ2, DMZ3. See how beautifully I'm making it. So again, if I go to object, so creating address and address group. Similarly, you can create a services also. Let's say there are some application which Paloalto don't know. So you can create the some ports. Let's say Oracle 1. Okay, there is one. So it required port 8000. Okay. 8000 port, and you can give some tags if required. So this is done. TCP, or I created one port. So clone it. Okay, I can say Oracle 2. So let's say this is my Oracle, another port. Okay, let's say this is a 8800, like 9090. This is the port, Oracle 2, two ports required. Then again, add. You can create a give the range also. Let's say Oracle 3, and this time I'm giving the TCP range. You can specify the range. Let's say 80 8080 443. See, I'm mentioning comma multiple ports I'm adding here, and just say okay. So I created three service. So now you can create a service group. Okay, you can create a service group saying that you can say Oracle ports, and you can add these ports: Oracle 1, Oracle 2, and Oracle 3. And you can, if you want, you can use the tag also. Done. Say okay. So now you created a service. You created a one port group. So now if you go here in the policy, so see there are two types of policy we can create. These three rules are application based policies because we use specify the application. But let's say internet to let's say I'm adding another rule saying saying let's say uh, DMZ to insight. Okay, so this time what I'm saying is let's say DMZ. So which server? So I have a DMZ servers. Okay, you can specify the servers. So this DMZ servers, they want to access inside zone. In the inside, which machine they want to access? They want to access, let's say, these LAN machines. Okay, and instead of application, you can specify the ports. Okay, see these ports which I just created, Oracle ports. Okay, because sometime if Palo Alto firewall don't have application, then you need to specify the ports. So I created these ports. Okay, done. Allow. So this is my fourth rule. So this is the difference. So the fourth rule, this is a port based rule, and this is the above three are the application based rule because we specify the application. And why we created this port based rule? Because this particular combination of the ports is not available in the Palo Alto. That's why it is showing. So where the database of the Palo Alto, where it is specify the application. If you go to application object, and there is something called applications. Can you see here? So this is the place you will see all the application known by the Palo Alto. See, application, all the applications. Let's say business application. Okay, let's say for example, okay, well, let's find out something. Facebook. When I search with the Facebook, so you will see the Facebook, it is nothing but one application, but it has multiple different application. Facebook apps, Facebook base, Facebook chat, Facebook file share, Facebook mail. So these applications we will see during the URL filtering, and how to add that, and app ID. When we learn the app ID tomorrow, maybe we will see, we'll discuss about this one. But can you see, you can this is called there is something URL called Applipedia. If you go to the Google and search Applipedia, so you will see the same thing. So these are the applications. So right now, Palo Alto firewall, like if it is a licensed firewall, right? So you will see the how many firewall application known by the firewall right now. So every day new application will detect, and you will the firewall will go to the updates.paloaltonetwork.com every day, and it will fetch all the new app IDs. So this is called app ID. So when we talk, when we say the user ID and app ID, content ID, so app ID is nothing but this one. Instead of, so this rule which we configured, the first three rules, these are called, we use the app IDs, because instead of 443, you remember 443, can be like a port. If you mention a port 80, so anything can become with the port 80. But when you specifically you're mentioning app id, so these are the app ids, right? So you created the object group, like a address group, and you created service group. So similarly you have application, so you can create application group also, right? Let's say for example, uh, social media, I'm creating one social media. Okay, so in the social media, what are the application comes? Let's say Facebook. Okay, I'm adding it Facebook. Let's say whatsapp came. Then let's say Twitter. Can you see Twitter? Let's say Instagram. Okay, where is Instagram? Okay, Instagram. So you created one application group, app IDs. So by using the app IDs, so I'm creating one rule here. What rule? So let's say I'm creating one rule, and what I'm saying here is um, social media, social media, media access. Okay, so you can define, you can give some description if you want. Source, so social media will be internet, right? In the internet. So from DMZ, let's say from DMZ, so there is one, let's say some, in the DMZ I have multiple servers, right? So let's say this particular, I'm not using the server group, I want this DMZ server. Let's say, okay, let's do one thing, because when you say DMZ it will be something different. So let's say inside, from inside, so I have a multiple servers, right? Multiple host. So but the host one, I want to allow this guy all social media access. So let's say destination. So it will go to the destination outside. Okay, and outside any, outside can be any application. So now you can mention the application group here. So if you go here, you will see multiple application. So if you come down, in the last, where is my application group? Social. Okay. Can you see your social media group? Instead of adding multiple app IDs, I created one group, app ID group. So social media, and you can say default and action is allowed. So now what does it mean is, so now see this particular rule, let's say it is came down. Okay, if you want to make up, so either you can move up means it will go, it will become a fourth rule. Can you see it is a fourth rule now? And if you move little bit up, so it will be again third rule now. See, but if you want directly on top, so if you move top, so it will become first rule. Can you see social media access? So this particular guy got this all media access. So if you go here, so what is the access? So you can see here. So this all social media he can access. Okay. So there is in the policy we understand the tags, zone, source zone, and this one users we will discuss later, because user ID agent, that is a different thing. Then app ID service, there is one more thing is required here, that is called logging. So whenever this rule hit, okay, whenever this rule hit, so we need to send the copy of your logs to the Syslog server. So we need to create the Syslog. Either you can create from here, or directly you can create from the device. So let's create from here, device. Just create the profile. So here you say Syslog. Okay. So what you want any severity. If you want to send the logs to Panorama, click here. You want only the critical informational, click here. And for some wildfire, benign and malicious, just click here, just say okay. So your syslog setting, you're forwarding this logs to the syslog. Okay, syslog profile. So in the profile, you can map the Syslog servers. Okay, so there is something that you will see the option also schedule. So you can make a time based ACL also. This service security policy. Let's say schedule. What I want this user, let's say time based. So this guy time base. So let's say daily, daily this guy he can access the social media starting from let's say between 1 p.m. to end time. Let's say I'm giving him access for 2 hours to 3 p.m. So this particular host he will get the access for not daily, only for 2 hours. Can you see how granular control you have? So this particular guy he will not be happy that okay I got the social media access, but again you mention the time there. See, this is a time based security policy, and there is something called profile. So this is if you click here, so this is the place this firewall will make you a next generation firewall. So you can here you can see all the profiles, antivirus, vulnerability, anti-spyware. So we will have a separate lecture to understand this. So but for now, we created a security policies. Okay, application based rules. Okay, so in the Palo Alto firewall rule, we called it as a security policy. So these are the security policies. So one zone to another zone by using, and if you go to the object, today we touch about the object tabs also, address, creating the address and making the group, application and application group. Similarly, service and service group. We created the tag also. Region. So region is something like geolocation. Like you can specify this rule is belongs to India region only. This rule is belongs to UK region only. So if you have a license, so you will see the regions also here. Okay, you will see. Okay, let's say for example, a region, India. Okay, so India. Okay, now see here India region. So you can specify for the India what are the addresses. Okay, or maybe you can use the geolocation of latitude and this one. So this is something advanced. So you can control via security policy with the geolocation also. Like you can specify this one. So in the object you can see here these three tabs. This all tabs. Most of the tabs are we create something here and we attach into the security policy. Okay, so that like this we create the security policy, and you can take up down, you can create delete whatever you want. And there is let's talk something about the net. So just source net, we'll see that. So what we decided here is, if you look at our diagram, so we created this one, we created policy inside to our DMZ to inside to outside, and in DMZ to outside, right? We created this policy. So now what we want, we required a natting, right? So we required natting to reach to the internet. So what we can do is, let's say we can create the nat rule. So I will say nat. So I will say internet access. Okay, you can use it. So original packet. So original packet is coming from where? It is coming from inside. Okay, what is the destination zone where they want to go to? Outside, right? So you can okay, so source any, destination any. So what you can do is, you can there is an option called okay, let me share the PPT here. Let me, yeah, we can see the PPT here. So nat. So are you able to see my PPT? Okay. So the Paloalto support two types of NATs. Source NAT commonly used to access the internal users to access the internet, and destination NAT is used to provide external access to public servers on the private network. So if you see this diagram, so this is your firewall, this is your trust zone, this is the internet. So when the people this laptop want internet access, so that time it is called a source NAT. And you have a, to the firewall you have a DMZ server. So the people from publicly they want to access the DMZ server, that is called a destination NAT, right? So in the source NAT, if you go to the source NAT, so there are three types again. You can, if you recall the CCNA lecture, so in the NAT we have static NAT, dynamic NAT, and the PAT, right? So similarly, in the source NAT you have a static NAT. You can map one-to-one IP address, you can map dynamic IP address, or you can directly use the PAT. So multiple clients use the same public IP address. So in the destination NAT, yeah, again you can use either one-to-one or you can use the port forwarding also. These two options are available. So if you come down, NAT, how the NAT will identify. So if you recall our flow diagram, so NAT will identify in the first place when the packet enter, right? So it will the Paloalto firewall will identify the source, what is the source zone, destination zone, and it will evaluate is it there any NAT policy available. If it is not, then it will reject. So in the initial packet flow only, the NAT policy will be identified. So how to create the NAT policy? You can see here specify trust and trust. Okay, then if you go here and here, um, in the destination address, here you can place at least static. If you put the static IP, you can put a static to static, dynamic IP, or port based directly one interface, or directly for destination at this particular tab. If you go here, okay, so see these are the options. So this option for the source NAT. So source NAT, let's say static, dynamic, and PAT. So I want to use the PAT. So if I click this one, so translation, what you want to translate. So you can just create one interface, um, saying that either you can give your public IP address of the interface. See what public IP. So your outside interface, it's already having the 1.1.1.1. So my outside interface, if you select here, so you will see 1.1.1.1. So it's already public IP address. So what I'm doing here is this inside people, when they go to outside, so they will get translated to this public IP address. So this is my source NAT. Done. So this is how we give internet access. So this is required. Inside people want to go to outside, they will map to this public IP address, which is our which is our outside interface. Okay, if you have another interface, you can use the static or you can use the dynamic. Okay, so this is called a source NAT. Okay, similar to the destination NAT. What is the destination NAT? If you want to create that, let's say you have some public server. Okay, let me show the diagram here. So if you come down, so let's say this one. Okay, so source NAT. So in the source NAT, what will happen? So NAT, you created this one. So okay, source NAT. Let's say this user, he want to access this one. So it's public. Currently, this machine IP address is 192.168.15.47, right? So when it pass the interface, so what the initially the source is this one, and he want to go to destination. So Palo Alto firewall will change the translation. So the source will become 172.16.51, which is nothing but the outside interface, and it will go there. So like this, it will go to the public. Otherwise, 192.168 not allowed on the public IP, public interface, right? So this is a source NAT. But similarly for the destination NAT, what will happen? So here you need to specify the web server. Okay. So for the destination NAT, you need okay. So see, this is the destination. Let's say this is your firewall, and this is your some public IP server, which you want the people should allow access to the internet from the internet. So let's say this internet guy, 65 dot something, he will come to your NAT IP address first, 50.15.1. Then destination NAT, your firewall will, then it will translate from public to private, and then it will send the traffic. Source will be keep same, but this time the destination will get changed here. But in the source NAT, what was happening in the source NAT? The source was getting changed. See, when the firewall was this traffic was leaving from the firewall, the source was this one, but the source got changed here. But in the destination, so source will be the same, but the destination will be natted from the firewall, right? So similarly, you can go and create this one. Let's say destination NAT. Okay, so original packet. So from where the packet is you are expecting, packet is I'm expecting from outside. Okay, outside to what is the destination zone? Outside to DMZ. Okay, so on the DMZ you are expecting your traffic. The people will come from outside to DMZ and translate where they want to translate destination address. So here you need to mention that. Here you need to mention that. Okay, what this is the destination, and if you want to port, let's say specify 443, so you created the destination NAT. But with the destination NAT, you required a security policy also. See what we did so far, we just created NAT rule outside to DMZ. They are coming here and they are accessing a destination NAT. Okay, this particular DMZ one. But with that, you need to attach a security policy also. The policy will be something like this. You need to say outside to DMZ on. Okay, let it come. Okay, outside to DMZ access. So source, who is the source? The source is coming from the outside. Okay, and destination is coming from on the DMZ. But this time, I am going to use the private IP address of my server, and in the NAT we will use the public IP address. Okay, and you use the application, whatever the application you want. Let's say you are allowing only 443 SSL traffic to that public IP address. Okay, SSL, and just say action is allow, and you are sending log to the syslog also, and just say okay. So for the destination NAT you need a security policy as well as you need a NAT. So source NAT, it is used internet to user to access the internet. And what is destination NAT? From outside, the people want to access your DMZ server, then that is called a destination NAT. So this is the same thing is happening. Only the source and destination will get changed here. In the source NAT, the destination will be same, source will be changed. But in the destination NAT, source will be the same, but destination will change by the firewall. So firewall will do this all natting. Okay, so this is how the things is. So today we talk about the security, then security policies, and in coming lectures also we will talk on more, because when we talk about the security profiles, but that time also we need to attach all this URL filtering and everything on our security policy. So for now this is enough. So you can start the practicing, and as I told, use this diagram. Create first, put the diagram and create the interfaces, outside interface, the IP addresses and all, and start creating the policies. And you need to aware each and every tab. Okay, this is the object, this is the address group, you must create each. So far we covered this one, and we will touch these all tabs also in the coming future. Okay, so with this we'll stop here. Any questions?
No.
समझ में आया? हमारे हुसैन, एनी डाउट्स?
हाँ नदीम भाई मैं थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस करके आज आपको
Okay.
पूछता हूँ.
Okay, perfect. So Ubaidullah. Okay, he's having some internet issue. Okay, so we'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue the same time. Thank you.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum.